Hello students, welcome to the discussion. Today I am going to touch upon a very important area in psychology, which is statistics in psychology. Now when I say the word statistics, it is associated with lots of emotions in students normally. It leads to anxieties, fears, and I'm sure some of you must be phobic to statistics as well. Well, the aim of this discussion would be not only to familiarize you with what statistics are, but actually to create an interest for statistics in your minds. Okay? So for that purpose, I would like to start with the very basic concept of statistics, what statistics actually are. So when I begin with the word statistics, there are three common viewpoints of what statistics are. So we are going to discuss all the three viewpoints of statistics. Number one, statistics is a number describing something. It's a number which can describe anything. For example, if I say that there are 1,000 schizophrenic patients in India, then 1,000 is a statistic because it is describing the number of people who have schizophrenia in India. If I say the mean age of marriage of Indian girls is 16.2 years, then 16.2 years is a statistic because it is telling you the mean age of marriage in India in case of females. Or for example, if I say that there are 10% people in India who have obsessive compulsive disorders, then this 10% becomes a statistic because it is describing something. It is giving or throwing more light on the number of OCD or obsessive compulsive disorder patients in India. So first viewpoint, is it clear to you that it is a number describing something? Now coming to the second viewpoint, statistics is a subject. It's a subject, it's a science which deals with numbers. It's the science of collection of data, of organization of data, of analysis of data, and of interpretation of data. Now, psychology has to advance, so any advancements in any field is based upon the research in the subject. And whenever we are doing research in the area of psychology, we collect information from the people or from whomsoever we want to study. Basically, they are our subjects. We normally go to the field or we do some experiments and we actually get some scores on certain variables or certain issues which we want to study. Once we've got the scores, now how are we going to deal with those scores? Basically, statistics is a subject which will tell us how to deal with those scores or with those numbers. Now starting from the very basic thing, how actually are we going to go to the field? What kind of design are we going to follow? How are we actually going to collect the data from the people? Whom are we going to study? Are we going to study males? How many males then? Are we going to study females? How many females then? So first thing is that statistics will tell us how actually to go to the field and collect data, right? Then after we have collected the data, how are we going to organize that data? Now for example, you want to study depression in case of 600 people. Now you've got 600 scores on depression. How are you going to organize that data? How are you going to form a pattern of that data? Whether you want to put them in some table form or some in picture form, that also statistics will tell you. So either you can make class intervals, you can make frequency distributions, or you can make some histograms, you can make some pie charts, you can make some bar diagrams, etc. So all this statistics will tell you how exactly are you going to organize your data. Now the third, which is what we are going to do now, is now that data is in front of us, now how are we actually going to analyze? There are so many scores in front of us. For example, we want to study gender differences in intelligence. So for example, we take 500 boys and 500 girls. We have scores on intelligence of 500 boys and scores on intelligence of 500 girls. Now how are we actually going to make some meaning out of what does these 500 boys score and what does these 500 girls score mean to you? So for that purpose, we need to arrive at one single value which will tell you the difference in the intelligence of boys and girls. How are we going to come to know that? By the use of certain statistical techniques. We are going to use certain statistical techniques which will give us one number, and that number will tell us that this much is the difference in the intelligence of boys and girls. So this was basically the analysis of data. Now once that single number has come in front of us, that this is the single number which is telling that this is the difference in the intelligence of boys and girls, how are we going to interpret that single number? Are we going to believe that number in one go? How much confidence should we have in that one single number? With how much confidence we can say that whatever has come in front of us can be generalized to the larger whole? How sure are we of this number? How much can we be confident about this number? How exactly are we going to interpret this number? So again, we will require the use of statistics. So the second viewpoint is, it's a science which deals with numbers, with the collection of data, with the organization of data, with what? Analysis of data and the interpretation of data. So second viewpoint is the one which will be the main focus of our study. We are most interested in statistics as a subject. We are going to do research in psychology, and for doing research in psychology, we need statistics. And the second viewpoint is the one which we are going to mostly follow. Okay? So there is another viewpoint, the third viewpoint of what statistics are. Now to explain the third viewpoint, first of all, I need to familiarize you with the concept of population, right? Then I'll come down to the concept of sample, and third, finally, to explain this third viewpoint, I'll come down to the meaning of statistics as used in the third viewpoint. So first of all, what is population? Population is basically all the cases which conform to a particular criteria. For example, I want to study postnatal depression in Indian women. You understand postnatal depression? Depression which women normally have after giving birth to a child. So for that matter, the population would be all Indian women who have just given birth to children. Now we have to include women of all ages, whether she is a young mother or she is a middle-aged mother, whether that woman is in Punjab or in Haryana or in Uttar Pradesh or in Andaman, she has to be included. She will be a part of that population. Whether that woman is a Hindu woman, she's a Sikh woman, she's a Parsi woman, that woman has to be a part of that population. Or that woman is educated, that is she's uneducated, she is rural, she is urban. All women basically who have just given birth to children, they will be our population. Now if you are able to get data from all Indian women who have just given birth to children, right, you get some mean scores on depression. Now the mean scores of depression in this case, that is in this population, are called the parameters. Okay, but practically it is not possible to study each and every person who comprises the population. I think we can all understand, because there are many reasons for this. One reason is basically the economic reasons. We cannot approach each and every member of the population, can we? No, it is not possible. How are we going to have so many, we don't have so many research grants to approach each and every person in the population. It is practically impossible. Okay, maybe we have lots of money for our research, but sometimes the geographical locations are such that we cannot reach those people. The areas are sometimes inaccessible. It is not possible to reach out to every member of the population. Third, okay, you are lucky enough. You have the money, you have the ability to reach out every person in the population. Now you reach out to them. What if the person refuses to give you data? He said, go away. I'm already in trouble, I'm sad, I don't want to talk to you. Because the person who's having depression, obviously, that person is not going to welcome you with open arms. Will he or she? No. They will not, right? So third reason is that the person might not cooperate with you. The fourth reason can be that sometimes the lists are incomplete. We can never be sure that this exactly is the number of people or number of people in this particular population. The lists are incomplete, they are not comprehensive lists. So because of all these reasons, we cannot study population. Then what we do? The decision is to select a particular subgroup from that population, to select a sample. Okay, from that population we will select a sample. Okay, and this sample would be a representative of the population. The sample would be drawn from the population. Why? Because we cannot study the population in totality. So we will draw a subgroup from that particular population, and that subgroup will be called a sample. And whatever you find in that sample, if you find that in that sample 10% is the incidence of postnatal depression in women, so that 10% is a statistic. Okay? So the characteristics of the population are called the parameters, and the characteristics of the sample are called the statistics. I hope all these three concepts are clear to you. So first was that it's a number describing something. Number two, it's a subject which deals with numbers. Number three, statistics are the characteristics of the sample. So many times during your course of study, interchangeably the word statistics will keep on emerging, keep on coming, but you should be aware that what is being told by statistics over here. So these three viewpoints need to be remembered by you, and I'm sure if you keep on focus on these things, you will definitely enjoy doing statistics. Okay, now, why do we need statistics? We have so much information with us. We have so many numbers with us. How are we going to give a meaning to those numbers? Raw scores in itself will not give you any meaning. Will they give you any meaning? No. You have scores of 1,000 people. What are they telling you? Nothing. You need to give them a shape. You need to condense them. You need to have a summarized information. By itself, numbers will not convey you anything. You need to interpret those numbers, and to interpret those numbers you will need statistics. And through statistics you will also develop some analytical and critical thinking about your subject. And the most important thing is that in research, whenever you publish your articles, whenever you communicate your findings, that's basically a common platform where you can communicate with other people in your field. You say that I found that the anxiety scores are 20.5 in your study. The other person who is working in New Zealand or in Canada or in Australia might say, no, mine were 14.6. So actually you are actually able to talk in terms of some common platform. So as a subject, statistics is very helpful, and all the credit for the advancement of the status of psychology as a science can be attributed a lot to the statistics. Okay. The next thing which I want to discuss with you is the types of statistics. Okay. There are two types of statistics. One is the descriptive statistics. Number two is the inferential statistics. So first of all, I am going to say what is descriptive statistics. Now, as the name suggests, descriptive means to describe. When the statistics are performing the role of describing something about your data, whatever information you have found in your particular study, when the statistics perform the role of describing that data, of condensing that data, of consolidating that data, they are basically the descriptive statistics. To make you understand this concept, I would just like to give you an example. If I ask a student, how much did you score in your last class? And he says, ma'am, I scored 62 in mathematics, 45 in English, 63 in home science, 72 in music, and so on. Am I going to get any information? No. So here I would need the descriptive statistics. Now, if the same student says, ma'am, I scored 62% marks in my last class. Now, this particular 62% is the average. This is basically describing his entire performance. So, here is the role of the descriptive statistics when you actually summarize the data. When the statistics are used to summarize the data, to consolidate the data, to give you a crux of the data, that is basically the descriptive statistics. And the examples can be the mean, the averages, the mode, or the average rainfall, the average batting score, or any average you can talk about. That is basically a descriptive statistics. And there are two kinds of descriptive statistics which we will be covering in our next sessions. One is the measures of central tendency, and number two is the measures of variability. So, this is basically the descriptive role of statistics, basically describing what exactly is going on in your data, right? Now, the second role is the inferential role of statistics. Now, again, as the name suggests, to infer, right? Can you understand? From the word to infer comes the word inferential. Whenever you have to infer something